Sometimes reality comes from a place that you don't expect, and as we are constantly seeing entities redefine common terms because they're uncomfortable with their ramifications, at least some entities are being honest with themselves and others when it comes to some dire financial straits that many businesses will find themselves in. And that is no less the case than in Hollywood right now, where they're going to have to be looking for ways to make money. They're going to be looking for a hedge. So let's take a look at how the recession is going to impact these entities and how some of them may try to survive it. Here we go. It's weird that you're going to find an entity like the Hollywood Reporter diving into something this complex and doing it so well. I found this article last week and I was impressed because on Wednesday they were already looking forward at what some of the quarterly reports were going to be for some of these larger entities. Obviously, Warner Brothers Discovery, Universal Comcast, and of course, Disney, which is coming up here soon. So let's fire right into this article by Hollywood Reporter. It says Hollywood's recession hedge, lean on in real life business. That means people actually going places and doing things. So as bad as things look right now for streaming subscriptions and advertising, which they do, live events and theme parks are booming. In fact, in a not related article, but somewhat related article that I don't have here, Live Nation actually reported record earnings, which and record ticket sales, which to me, not surprising. People were cooped up for far too long. Although I don't expect that trend to continue, I think that it's a good sign that people are going to spend their money on physical stuff rather than, you know, digital stuff. But I digress and will continue. So this is going to offer a lifeline to entertainment giants that actually boast this kind of revenue stream, which, as I mentioned, Disney, Universal, they have that. So for much of Hollywood, things are looking a little rough right now. This is from their article. Streaming subscriptions seem to be stalling. Yes, we've reached maturity. With Netflix reporting subscriber losses for the second straight quarter. That was a few weeks ago. The NBC Universal's Peacock is flat on growth, at least on their paid side. That's the caveat there they're not diving into, and at least that's quarter-to-quarter growth there. Advertising is in far worse shape. I added the word far, but it's true. Apple, Roku, Snap, Meta are all seeing a slowdown in spend as far as the ad tech stuff goes, and NBCU CEO Jeff Shell telling analysts that indeed the market is choppy. But as bad as things appear in the core media business models for subscriptions and ads, there is another area that actually seems to be booming, and that is, well, of course, live events and theme parks. Some of these companies that have revenue streams that are tied to these are going to be able to ride that wave until the choppiness of the ad tech stuff subsides. Well, maybe. I think this is a little optimistic, but we'll keep going. Consider that NBC Universal, which reported Q2 results on July 28th, the company says its U.S. theme parks in Orlando and California are trending above 2019 levels financially. Well, yeah, you've also had a year-over-year increase across the board on a lot of products, so is Disney, which is why they're artificially boosting their revenue. That's not going to go on forever. Obviously, the parks, and this is Jeff Shell talking, he says, obviously the parks business historically has been subject to macro trends, and there is no reason to think that won't be the case in the future. No, it will be. So when we are looking at our businesses, we're not just seeing it yet in our numbers or our performance. And at least he's being realistic about the fact that this could fall off very soon. And we're putting up these numbers despite the fact that our international visitation domestically is about half of what it's been historically. And that will be damaging because the international dollars are what has been driving growth in the theme park industry and in a lot of the other physical entertainment industries for a very long period of time. Probably over a decade is where the growth was coming from for Disney, Universal, and similar entities. So the numbers are obviously boding well for Disney, with reports coming out on August 10th, so this Thursday. It faces a lot of investor pressure over its streaming business. Yes, because they set that up as the end-all be-all, which I said was a bad idea. The strength of the parks could help mitigate investor concerns about near-term streaming or ad concerns. You're going to have a hard time supporting these streaming businesses, folks. To that end, Disney execs have been putting theme parks front and center. In the last quarter, CEO Bob Chapek started off his investor call speaking to the fantastic performance of domestic parks in a per capita guest spending growing more than 40%. Again, they're riding the high of a across-the-board scale increase, not just in ticket prices, but in food prices, lodging, etc., etc. Everything is up double-digit percentage-wise at Disney parks, and that's been happening since, I don't know, 2016. So not a new trend. So 40% jump since 2019 is kind of some lame information, Bob, but we'll keep going. This came even as domestic parks are still capping attendance numbers. Well, of course they are. Disney used the pandemic to transform its parks business, launching a new pass system designed to extract more revenue from frequent visitors. It extracts more revenue from everybody, to the detriment of anybody who's going there for the first time, or to the regular guests who only go there occasionally to do something. But it launched a product called Genie Plus and Lightning Lane, which is an offer to tempt guests to buy a spot in line or towards the front of the line. And believe it or not, that works, and they are putting a number of standby line spots in that field now and making the lines much, much longer, even with the quote-unquote smaller park attendance. They're really making the parks feel overcrowded, and they're doing it on purpose. And believe me, people like me and others are continuing to point it out and to point towards Disney as not only being anti-family, but anti-consumer. So the parks have been an important part of Disney's recovery story and have helped the company bring down its leverage ratio, which had been high in the early part of the lockdown. Our recovery, and primarily driven by theme parks, has given us a really good opportunity to take that leverage down. And again, theme parks have always been their cash cow, or at least in their modern history. And there's a lot of money there. The problem is are they going to continue to destroy the fan base that appreciates the parks while grabbing huge chunks of revenue? I believe they are. I think they're going to find that the diminishing return level, they've gone well past it, but they just don't know because they're able to push it higher and higher while demand has been artificially high to escape. I think that this is going to come crashing down to earth very soon, maybe by the end of this year. But Morgan Stanley analyst Ben Swinburne wrote in July 1 that the parks could be be a hedge against a possible recession, hence the topic sentence or headline sentence for this article. He says, we think that pent-up demand is clearly playing a role in the current park's strength, which I agree. I think that's temporary for that reason, but which along with Disney's yield management investments may allow the business to grow even in a modest recession. I think that growth is going to fall off real fast. Travel's getting way too expensive. Parks are far from the only sector that's seeing a boom at the moment. Live events have been able to stage a post-global crisis return, seem to be flourishing even amid larger economic concerns. So demand is still insane. If there's a recession, they're not seeing it in that space. There are a lot of sectors that aren't going to see the recession right away. They'll see it later. Tickets are still flying in higher prices than ever before. And that's the other thing that's making these numbers pop, is that they're charging an exorbitant amount on top of things. But you can look, there's a chart here about theme parks and their roller coaster ride and where their low point was in 2020, which had been Q2. And then their slow recovery rise that happens over the course of the quarter. And you can see that number is already starting to fall, going from Q4 of 2021 into Q1 of 2022. I think that while it may stay even, might rise slightly because of the economic season that we're in. Again, this is going to cover the early part of the summer, which a lot of vacationers do take advantage of. You're going to see those numbers fall off in Q3 easily. I think we're going to see a very bad couple of quarters for Disney in some market sectors, and then overall I think Disney will start to fall off completely in 2023. But because of their diversification, obviously Comcast and Disney they have ample exposure to the world abroad. So those kinds of revenue streams, whether it be theme park, television, whatnot, they can help smooth out what's going to be an incredibly bumpy year for everybody else. I think Warner Brothers Discovery is going to have a hard time of it. You might see the acquisition of the WWE by one of these entities, or possibly Warner Brothers Discovery, to like stave off some real problems in the future for Warner Brothers Discovery or any one of these things. But so when it comes to like a vacation or a concert, the conclusion here is that all bets are off and people will still continue to spend money. And I think that that's kind of, to a certain extent, at least for now, the truth. In the long term, though, I think it's going to hit every sector. I think travel and anything that's a luxury is going to get smashed, and I think that's going to happen as we go into the Christmas holidays here in the United States and around the world. But hey, what do you think? Do you think that my analysis of this story is accurate? Do you think their analysis is right, that this could help sustain some of these entertainment companies? I agree with that portion of the commentary, but I think that they're a little bit too optimistic when it comes to the long-term sustainability. But I'm curious what you have to think, so use that comment section down below. And obviously, with that being said, support independent creators as well as myself as you can, because we don't get a lot of push from, obviously, the entities that we are on, which is a real shame because we provide the majority of the, well, content that bolsters the platforms each and every day. Instead, they put all the attention on the corporate content creators that bring you the lame stream stuff on the regular that doesn't add anything to the discussion other than the message. So if you wouldn't mind, comments, subscriptions, hit the like button, share out the content. That helps me and every other independent out there. And with that, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.